Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing, pre-core villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to an Italian knockoff of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 302, recorded on Monday, January 18th, 2021. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the latest Patreon pick. This one was chosen by Thomas P., and the movie is Shocking Dark, also known as Terminator 2. Before we get into the movie, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got our boy Randy Gandy G. Landy. What's up, man?
What's up, Blob?
Blob.
And welcome everybody to Straight Chilling and our wonderful knockoff program of our own show. We're starting it just now. I think it's going to be way more popular than whatever we used to do. That's for sure.
That's right. Yeah, we're trying to go for like a WTF vibe here, like blended
Yeah.
with NPR is sort of the goal.
We're in talks
you know?
with Obama as we speak.
As we speak. He's hanging out in my shed. We'll be hearing from him in a minute here.
Oh, yeah. You'll be hearing from somebody. That's for sure.
Next up, calling in from the Saxonville, Florida, we got our boy Juice. What's up, man?
What up? It's your boy Tubular Stains. What up?
Best shape of stains, tubular.
Oh, man. I got tube all over my shit. Covered in tubular stains.
They're everywhere.
Gotta love it.
Boys. Sorry. I just we're talking
Mhm.
some crazy shit today, huh?
We are.
Yep. It's one of
We
those
are
days.
indeed.
Tubular.
All
right.
Thanks, Thomas. Last but not least, making his triumphant return to the show, welcome back, Michael from Horror Apocalypse. What's up, man?
Hello. I was
Yo.
waiting for the most opportune time to introduce myself. That is to say, right now.
That would be right now.
Hello.
Wow. That is accurate. Oh, man. I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh, I have a strange feeling that this was revenge, but we'll get to that.
Whatever
Yeah,
are you talking about? I can't possibly imagine.
we're not the vengeful type, you son of a bitch.
You fucking ass. Michael, real quick, why don't you take a minute and let everybody know what else do you do? You got a podcast of your own, right?
I do. Horror Apocalypse Podcast, wherever you can find quality podcasts like these folks here. You can also find ours for some reason. We are everywhere. We do our live shows Friday at 9:30 on Facebook Live. We have started a new segment called Couples Scarapy. When my co-host decided he wanted to dip for half the show, he's only doing every other week. My wife stepped up and said, well, I'm nervous, but I'll do it with you. And we partner up with other couples who want to talk and review movies with us. And that's our Couples Scarapy twice a month.
Hell
Very
yeah.
cool. Subjecting your wife to some horrific shit, no doubt.
She actually subjects me to worse.
Wow.
Oh, she's doing the Lord's work, I'll tell you.
Well,
Good for her.
I knew my wife was going to be my wife when one of our first dates, I asked her if she wanted me to bring a movie, and she said, yeah, what do you have? I said, well, I've got thousands of movies, most of it's horror though. She goes, oh, great. Bring me a craptastic zombie movie. And I said, that's it. It was like angels sang. I knew this was going to be my wife.
Well, there you go, man. And not everybody
Beautiful
has a
story.
meet cute quite so beautiful as that.
Nice.
Well, usually they leave the actual meat out of it. All right. Let's
The
move on. That was-
human meat.
We're just gonna pivot right
Cute.
away from that poor pun there.
I liked it, Randy. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, you have low quality steaks, buddy. I appreciate it though.
I'm just sweet on you.
I know
Let's go ahead and tackle some housekeeping real quick before we get in the main event. Here's another reminder. Our February poll pick is currently posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this February. The theme for February was chosen by Juice himself. What was the theme?
The theme is thrillers. So I picked 3 movies that are horror adjacent.
Rob,
Bob,
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
get
get
flagged.
sued.
Sorry.
Beyond the grave, we will be sued to death by a spectral vision. And that's
Yes.
talking
I
about when
can't-
he was alive.
Can't hum anymore. God.
Yes, these are 3 horror adjacent films that I felt like we probably wouldn't talk about unless somebody signed up for our You Pick the Flick. So I went ahead and picked these movies since I had a kind of open range. And the 3 movies are Seven, Old Boy, the Korean version, and No Country for Old Men. So yeah.
No
Bob?
Country for Old Bishes.
Old
Yes.
Bishes. Old Mangs. No Country for Old Mangs.
Old Mangs.
Bob, how those numbers looking so far?
No Country for Old Mangs and Old Bish, and then just 7. The numbers are looking good. Old Boy, I'm pretty sure is going to clinch it. I don't
Yeah.
see how either of the other movies could come back. Old Boy's got, I think, like double the votes
Yeah.
on the other 2. So
It's been stomping dick this month, hasn't it?
That's congruent with the content of the film, I would say.
yeah, that's about right. So yeah, looks like we're probably going to be talking about Old Boy next month. I think that's all we really have going on Patreon as far as new news. Juice, do you have any YouTube, Twitch, anything like that?
Other than not anything specific or special, other that we are like so close, like 17 subscribers away from hitting the 1,000 mark, which would be dope. So if you have not subscribed to us or checked out our YouTube channel, check us out at youtube.com/Straight Chilling Podcast. On there, you will find some exclusive horror content. We do monthly top 5 picks. We are now back on the behind the scenes, so you can see our hideous faces and Michael's lovely face this evening. So that is some content we have on there. That we have some horror video game reviews on there. So yeah, we are so close to hitting the 1,000 mark. So if you have not, please head over there and subscribe.
Yeah. Our subscriber farms have been doing dick.
I know. Need to
Damn
fly over
it.
to Russia and get that shit taken care of.
Just crack the whip a little bit.
Just
Mhm.
a little.
Yeah, our YouTube also recently got a facelift like everything else did, courtesy of Randy and, of course, the designers in Hell,
Look,
redesigning everything for us. Looks
happy
nice.
to take credit for Hell's ingenuity.
As you should. I think that's all the housekeeping we have. I believe this house is clean.
This house is clean.
Yeah,
Nice and smooth, like.
nice and smooth. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into the main event. We're talking about Shocking Dark, and we're going to be kicking it off at the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
All right, Shocking
Well,
Dark.
Bob, it appears you have something in hand there. What you got?
I got the box.
Oh
got
shit!
it.
Judgment
Right
Day.
here. Yeah, right.
Bob,
Terminator 2.
I didn't realize we
Judgment
were
Day.
talking about an Arnold Schwarzenegger film.
Mhm. We are indeed. So this little fella right here, if you are curious about picking this up on Blu-ray, you can. It was put out by Severin. It came when they first put it out. It came with like a limited edition slip cover that actually says Terminator 2 on it, which I think is sold out now. If you get it now, it just says the Shocking Dark art, which is what it is known as in America because. Spoilers, this is definitely not Terminator 2. It was made before Terminator 2 was made.
Rob,
Yeah.
what does the cover say though? That's all that's important.
Oh, it definitely says Terminator 2.
Hell yeah!
Those Italians, you can't trust them, back in 1989. You can
God.
trust
They were
you can
pulling
trust
some
them now.
shady
You
shit.
can trust
were.
them now.
That's There's gonna be some anti-Italian sentiment later in the discussion of this film. Let's maybe temper it for now.
Yeah.
That's why you had me on. I got you.
Sorry, Michael. So yeah, this is from 1989. This was directed by Bruno Mattei, but he is credited in this movie as Vincent Dawn. He had a whole bunch of aliases that he used to direct under. This was written by Claudio Fragrasso and stars Christopher Aarons, Haven Tyler, Garetta, and some other folks. Plot synopsis is as follows. Oh man. I'm just gonna skip over a bunch of this stuff that I just said. So yeah, this is on the actual back of the box, by the way. Rip off of both Aliens and Terminator. We have a team of badass Marines, a tough female civilian, and an orphaned girl battling monsters beneath the Venice canals while being chased by an indestructible killer cyborg. And there's some other random credits on here. There's a handful of special features listed. I'm not going to read through all this. Anyway, that's pretty much the plot of the movie. Venice, we're underground. There's a bunch of crazy cyborgs and monsters.
It's interesting to me that this movie is far more in line with being a sequel to Chud than either Bud the Chud or Terminator, for that matter.
Yeah, that's true. This is more Aliens. This is more like a ripoff of Aliens than it is Terminator.
Yeah.
2.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure. It's
Called
Aliens top
Terminator.
to bottom.
That's all of Bruno Mattei's stuff. It's like he saw Aliens and said, you know what? That's an awesome movie. I'm going to make this movie. But he made it 1,700 more times. So
Hell yeah.
every one of his
I mean-
movies is like that.
Not, some people really get fixated on the one idea, and sometimes that leads to fucking Terminator 2, I guess.
Yeah, this was known as a bunch of different things, but it was also known as Aliens 2. Not Alien 2, but Aliens 2. It was also known as
Aliens.
Yeah. It was
That's
also known
son
as
of a bitch.
that son of a
Oh,
it was known
AKA
as,
Space Mutiny 2, AKA fucking
Alienators, and it was also known as Contaminator.
That's an entirely different word.
Yeah.
That's like analrapist level, like fucking Hortmantow logic.
The world's first analrapist.
This is a movie
That-
about people who alienate each other.
Gentlemen, had you guys seen this movie before, and would you recommend people check it out? Randy, why don't you kick us off?
Oh yeah, we spend this every Christmas in the fam. No, hell no, I haven't seen this. This is a first for me. Although, if like we've been talking about, it's got shades of a lot of other movies in there. I guess we'll get to some of the dissection of that. And no, I would not recommend this to anyone. I would say that this is a movie that's pretty primed for a Mystery Science Theater style riffing. But if you can't get your hands on a situation like that, then buddy, there's other wells to plumb.
True. Juice, what about you?
I had certainly never seen this before. I can't think of anyone I would recommend this to, like under any circumstances.
Who do I know on death row?
Yeah, no, they got limited time left.
That's true.
Unless
too
they
cool.
want to stretch time out. Randy was right, man. This thing is a time vortex. So I guess if
Yeah.
you're on death row and you want to feel like you're living a little bit longer, I guess you can throw this on.
But the quality of life issue just really kind of
Plummets.
nixes the whole idea.
Yeah. But no, this movie is hot garbage. Spoiler warning.
All right. Michael, what about you?
Yes, I have. I do May Mattei kind of thing where every May we watch a few Mattei films.
Nice.
That
Women's
tracks perfectly.
women's prison movies,
Yeah.
alien ripoffs, all of that. And I would recommend it.
Oh, no qualifiers
not
on that, or
surprised.
just that also is very on brand.
Mhm. Like, would you recommend it to your mom or?
I
Recommend
actually,
it to people dying in the hospital.
I watched when you messaged me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this?" I said, "Hell yeah, cool." And I watched it, I think that night, and I watched it again last night in preparation for it
Wow.
with my mother and my younger brother here at my house. So,
No way.
That was my brain reacting to what you
That's-
just said.
That's dedication.
That's
Oh, yeah.
beyond dedication. That's masochism. Sadomasochism.
Wow. Did they like it? Did your mom and your brother like it?
How tense is
bro-
your relationship?
Well, my brother was my first co-host, so I subjected him to
Oh.
all this, and he's kind of into this. My mother, on the other hand, she spent the whole movie going, "What the fuck is happening? What is
Yeah.
that? Who is that?" So
Yep.
it was a thing.
Yeah, definitely a thing. I'd seen this once prior. It was not that great. I saw it again. This time I did not watch it alone. Definitely, this is one of those movies, like, if you're gonna watch it with other people and crack a beer. Like,
Absolutely.
don't just sit down at like 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and like think you're really gonna pay attention to this thing, because you won't be able to do it. It's like 88 minutes long and it feels like it's 3 hours. It kind of creeps by, but if you can, crack jokes MST3K style, like Randy mentioned, that's kind of the only way to watch this thing. So yeah, that's a very light recommend. If you're into weird knockoff shit like this, then watch it. Be prepared to make jokes. Yeah, sounds like
to be bedazzled.
yeah. Be
I was
prepared
waiting
to
for that.
to be bedazzled. Not a very hearty recommend here from the Straight Chilling crew. Hearty recommend from Michael from Horror
Yes.
Apocalypse.
Yeah. Let's just shove all the
makes
responsibility for that onto Michael.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's go ahead and drop the spoiler warning and get into the rest of the movie. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
You've been warned.
Bob, did you type up a plot synopsis for this movie?
I
poor-
did.
I would
Poor
like to hear it.
bastard.
I would like to hear it. I'm curious because there's probably things I missed. This movie's hard to focus on.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, it's one of my shorter ones because, let's be honest, there's not a whole lot going on in this movie. But yeah, I'll read through it real quick. The extended synopsis is as follows. The movie opens up in modern day Venice, where the water is so polluted it's eating away at the foundation of the city, and the city is sinking because of this. The Tubular Corporation has a large underground facility in place where their scientists are busy working on cleaning the water and saving Venice. Either that, or they're working on cybernetic, genetic, and military experiments that go wrong, creating some sort of murderous fish creature that kills at will. The Tubular Corporation then sends a team of employees, military and one ex-Marine, down to investigate and save their scientists. They call themselves the Megaforce. There's immediate dissent among the ranks, and they get
Did
picked off.
Zordon cause a rift or something?
They did.
Might as well.
This shit is kind of Power Rangers like. There's immediate dissent amongst the ranks, and they start getting picked off one by one. They find a little girl who is one of the scientist's daughters. They vow to protect her at all costs. The ex-Marine is soon revealed to be a machine built by the Tubular Corporation to protect their interest above all else. By the end of the movie, our main character, Sarah, and the little girl, Samantha, are the only survivors. They get inside a tubular time pod and travel back in time to Venice before the water was polluted. The ex-Marine follows them in another pod and chases them throughout the streets of Venice. Sarah manages to defeat him by throwing her tracking device at him, causing him to magically vanish somehow. Sarah and Samantha then vow to clean up the waters of Venice before it is too late. That's
I
it.
somehow just realized that her name was Sarah, like Sarah Connor.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
some bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And yet,
She-
this entire first 2/3 of the plot is just the biggest ripoff of Aliens that I've
Oh,
ever
yeah.
seen in my life.
Fucking Coster is who's it? Vasquez? Vasquez? Is that who it was from Aliens? The
Aliens. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
she's so Vasquez, but stare into the camera speaking Vasquez. Somebody who's you remember that character from Aliens? That's me. I'm her. That's
So-
very, very.
There was one thing that skewed my initial viewing of this film. So let me go ahead and preface this my experience of watching this film.
Mhm.
It took 4 sessions for me to get through this film. The initial session, I think, like first it was like maybe 25-ish minutes, and then I tried to do another 25, and then like the last portion I had to split into two. So for at least the first portion, maybe the second portion, I watched it on Tubi. So it's free there, and that's where I could like find it. But Tubi has it labeled as 2018. So when I first started watching this movie, I thought it was kind of like a Love Witch situation where they're like trying to make a retro bad film. And in that context, I was like, hey,
That is interesting.
cool. Because I thought it was made 2 years ago.
Nope.
Until I realized that it was a complete ripoff of Aliens, and then I did a little more research about it being like Terminator 2 and shit like that, and then all of that intrigue completely plummeted like to the ground. And I was just real fucking mad about it. But then
This is your bad
Randy
beer
also
moment?
put it into a context of, he said this is just like a movie that Mac from Sunny in Philadelphia would make. And that made it that made
That's
it
the
better
case.
for me.
The only thing that's incongruent with that is the idea that they would have a female lead at all. But otherwise, I really think this is Mac and Dennis at work.
it really
Yeah.
was like Mac being like, I can make a movie just as good as Aliens. He
Very
just
much the
makes-
Lethal Weapon sequel they made, except
Yeah.
with a sci-fi bent.
That show's
Yeah.
cracking me up though.
There'd be more oily muscles in this, I think, if Mac made it.
Dude, the thing that made me go, like, the thing that made that occur to me was in the longest fucking scene in the world, or at least it seemed like it, like every scene in this movie, which is when they're in the giant fucking locker room and they're all gearing up as part of the Mega Marines or whatever. And in the background, you see a dude just like kind of whipping around casually a fucking nunchuck, just like just kind of like
Yeah.
half-heartedly nunchucking himself, and, like with no shirt on. It's like, this is fucking Mac. This Mac is in this movie, in its core, in its DNA.
That scene bugged me though, because she comes in and she goes over to one Kowalski, I think it was, and he's got that gun in his lap, and she like pushes it down. She makes her comment or something, and then I timed this 34 seconds later. The exact same gun is handed to her, and she's like in awe of this. She's like, I've never seen this before. Oh my god. And I watched that like 3 times. I'm like, no, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 34 seconds. Short-term memory was gone with this woman.
See, that's the kind of insight you can only get from watching 3 times.
In 1 week.
I would have never even noticed that. I was too busy being like, God damn, this, like, they're really trying to make this girl Vasquez really, really hard.
I mean,
Oh,
even like not just her. I mean, it's not as much of a ripoff, but like it's so much like Aliens because everybody has this distinct kind of personality. The dialogue is clearly trying to like rip even the style of their banter and shit. So yeah, she is a clear like absolute ripoff. But oh my god, this shit is so blatant. The little girl. There's a little girl in here who's all like running away and freaking scared and torn up. I mean, dude, oh my god.
You could call her, but instead of Newt, he gives them, they give her a like very common name, which is Samantha. And I don't know. To me, it's like you're just removing the sci-fi elements from this sci-fi story you're trying to rip off, and everything's got like, I know this is like just budgetary constraints, but every room that they're in is all just industrial backstage.
Oh yeah,
That's it. Like they're just using a fucking industrial factory for every ounce it's worth.
The funny thing about that is these are all just mechanical rooms. And so the thing is through most of this movie, they're using the things around them to be like, oh, it's opening a door or shit like that. I want to talk to Bob about this.
Yeah.
Because there were times where I was like, I hope they had fucking permission to be in there. Cause some of the shit that they're like, oh, this is the button for the door. I'm like, are they shutting some shit down? Because as a person who's worked in construction, I recognized everything in these scenes because that's all they're doing. They're just in a maintenance science like room area.
Mhm.
And like that one scene where they're like, open the door, and she's just pushing these buttons on this electrical panel. I'm like, what? I hope she's not fucking
It's not
shutting
working.
shit down.
Dude,
Yeah,
they push every
there's-
button they fucking find in this movie too.
There's like definitely a couple generators in one of the scenes, and also there's like a scene towards the end where this girl like opens a valve and it like releases a bunch of steam, I guess, into the cyborg's face, but she actually like closes it and then it somehow like explodes. I don't know, little things like that.
Wow.
Really,
And the
attention
like
to
really-
detail.
the effects when the cyborg is getting shocked is clearly just using someone like using like a sand belt or something to create like sparks.
I just love that whole sequence so much.
I liked how
love
his
that.
voice started to change. Like they did a
Dude.
good effect on his voice. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The little girl after he gets shot and electrocuted, and like the little girl is then saved, but then somehow she magically falls to the ground, and there's like this perfect slide for
Yeah.
her. And she
I
just,
was like,
gets
did they film this
taken down.
on a playground? Or did they just
Right.
like rip this out of the ground at a public park and put it in this industrial
It's-
back room?
It's perfect. And then of course, like the Samantha screams back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It is fantastic.
Sarah.
Did you the first
It's not just them. Either people are delivering the worst dialogue in a monotone voice or they're screaming. There is no in between in this film.
So the biggest indicator I have that this was an incredibly tough movie to get through is that this only happens with either the most interesting or the hardest to watch movies of all, and that's I took notes. So I took a lot of notes on this movie, and
All right.
here's just a few. There was one note that I made about how there's this one scene where they very much do the Scooby-Doo let's split up gang thing, where they're fucking just they get to this room, they find the little girl, and they're like in yet another control room, and they're all just kind of standing around for a second, and the captain or whatever goes to whatever Vasquez and Koster and Kowalski. He's like, you two go out and have a look around, and that's it. And the next scene is them getting killed. Like there's no reason for them to go out and look around. He does not give any further detail. They go out, and that's the scene where she hands over a fucking picture of old Venice to Kowalski, and he's like, what is this? She's like, that's what Venice used to look like. You can keep it. I got all kinds of. It's like, okay, first of all, how far into the future is this? I'm unclear on that. But also, like, you don't know what old Venice looked like, but you still have like racial epithets from Italy about your fucking coworkers. What the fuck is this? Those survived, but the memory of Venice is lost to time. Okay, I guess we really know our priorities.
But in the beginning, didn't they say this is before the year 2000?
No, they said that the good Venice is before. 2000.
Okay,
So
okay.
implying that this happened sometime after 2000. But I don't remember if they. Michael, did they say anything more specific than that about the timing of this? Do you
No,
remember?
it starts off with the intro about talking all the toxic water beneath Venice, but that was before the year 2000. Then it just cuts to dead Venice. There's no time frame listed at that point, and they also changed what happened to Venice. It wasn't the water underneath anymore. It was a toxic cloud that descended on Venice.
Yeah, that's right. They do fucking change it,
Consistency.
dude. Fucking movie.
Love
Also, they bring. Okay, so not only are there fucking fish type monsters in there, they're like chud sort of things roaming around killing
Yeah.
people. But before that, you have people who are apparently under some sort of influence, and Mr. Robot Guy fucking is talking about how like it's like a floppy disk. You put a floppy disk in a person, it's on through air, like some sort of viral thing that you breathe in, and then like a floppy disk, it tells your body what to do. And all of a sudden, even though you like, and they run into like one person that has this going on, and that's before this is all like exposed, like all this expository dialogue describes that, and it never fucking comes up again.
Yeah, they were all talking about like breathing it in, and these motherfuckers
There was
grabbing them,
never
slinging
referenced
them
ever again.
around. Also, yeah, the language that they use to talk about anything that's supposed to be scientific or like
Oh my
anything
God.
is fucking stupid.
The name of the company is
Ridiculous.
the Tubular Corporation. That's
Why
like on
is it
scale of the Boring Company. Like
Why
that's
is it called the Tubular Company?
because it's shaped
Why
like a big
not?
old fucking tube.
Why not?
I don't know. And
The
then it
first-
turns out.
Man,
Sorry, go
that
ahead,
shit
Bob.
cracked me up.
As it the first like creature, I guess, that we come to is really just like a guy who's sort of drooling, and he looks kind of like a zombie. It reminded me a bit of the ending of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 1979 Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where the dude's sort of screaming, because that's how he sort of attacks our crew, is like he just screams real loud, and it just sort of harkens back to
Forgot
that for
about
me.
that.
Yeah, did you guys?
Forgot about that too?
Not paid off.
Yeah, true. It's like the only time that happens, but
Yeah,
you know,
and
the
it's
crew-
not discussed even. Like, well,
It's
my
really
ears are
not.
ringing, and then that's it.
Yeah, so you're like, maybe we're dealing with zombies, and then we get sort of like the Admiral Akbar kind of fish-looking people that come through later after that, and then we're dealing with like the cyborg, who's like really the big bad in the end. You know, evil corp. You know,
Evil Corp. Yeah, this movie does the evil corporation thing like a boss. This movie just kind of crams everything in, but doesn't pay anything off. It just sort of things happen. They explain why that happened, and then they just move the fuck on.
Also, they just like go back in time, like it's
Yeah, all of a
just the
sudden,
audacity
time
of
travels
all
on the table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also
Accidentally,
just
by the way.
the like screen woman who works for the company but shows up to just give them super useful information all the time when they walk into
Yeah.
a room just does the worst job. She's not even in front of the camera. She all she has to do, she's supposed to be reading a script. That is her, like that is what she's supposed to do, and she just does the shittiest job. I thought that was so funny. She's not even supposed to give any emotion or anything. She's just supposed to be like an instructional video, and she still
I don't know,
fucks it up.
It struck me as very much the cadence of like this is why you shouldn't say inappropriate things to your coworkers type of line
It
reader.
did, but like the way she did it was fucked up. Like she like kind of read through her lines once and was like, "Yeah, I think I got this," and would like kind of stumble over lines and shit. It was so
English might
fucking
not have been
bad.
her first language
So-
there.
Also, the
So-
fog hog was kicking. My
Dude,
God.
Extra fog.
Also, okay, and this is like this again, the Mystery Science Theater connection. First of all, this movie is definitely aching for that. Second of all, it's very much like one of their most popular episodes, which is Space Mutiny. And I don't know how many of you guys have seen it. I'm assuming Michael, you've probably seen it at some
Oh.
point.
I have every MST3K on video.
God bless you, man. So yeah, Space Mutiny is basically this minus the monsters, and like if you've ever heard anybody reference the name Big McLarge Huge, that's the episode that's from. And it's just like the guy who's the lead is just this big jack dude who can't act for shit. But the thing about this movie that is very similar to that is not only just the industrial setting, which is just constant industrial bullshit, but not only that, but there is like at least half of the kills in this movie involve falling over a railing. At least half of them. In that movie, it's every fucking kill is over a railing. They make jokes about it the whole thing. And I kept thinking like, God damn, another fucking railing kill. This happens like 4 times.
Except the rails come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're not like they're like in an enclosed hallway. But
Yeah, it's all
because somebody
dark.
is dying and they need a way for him to die, he gets knocked over a railing that wasn't there. It's like Jurassic Park.
It really is. That's what I thought. They just come out of nowhere and it takes up like every single fucking kill.
Fucking yeah, man.
The Terminator guy falling over the railing. We got to talk about that for a minute.
Do
So-
it, Bob. I wouldn't have seen it. Bob recommended it. I'm
Yeah,
glad he
I didn't
did,
notice it.
like to pay attention.
I-
I loved it.
I can't take credit for that. I was watching with Alice and she saw it, and I rewound it to catch it. So the Terminator guy falls over the railing, and it's obviously a dummy that they just like hurled, you know. And I guess like as he's falling, the dummy's head hits a pole, and the head flies like across the screen, knocks his head clean off. But then when the guy actually lands on the ground and we zoom in,
We're moving on.
His head is still intact. Yeah, and they're just like, well, we fucked the dummy up. We're not doing that again.
They just don't reshoot it. They
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, and he comes back. That's not even technically his death scene.
Yeah, he's still
So he
alive.
comes back, head attached.
You hear it. You hear his head hit the pole. It like pings. It's
goes
fantastic.
flying. Somebody said, "I'm not walking up
We're
all
moving
those
on."
fucking stairs
Yeah.
again."
We got one
No.
more. We got one more
we got
hour
it.
until dawn when the workers
Yeah.
arrive. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
That dummy weighs 75 pounds. I'm not hauling it up 10 flights of upstairs.
No, fuck that. Fuck
That's
that.
exactly what happened. They shot in the off hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh shit! I accidentally pushed this button and shut down the generator.
You're like, now make sure not to touch these buttons, okay? Okay, shut up. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Everybody's losing their minds. What up?
It's so funny. Like
We gotta
because
go.
there's like two buttons, and like I've just worked on panels like that, and it's like low voltage panels or whatever. So there, it's literally just to like if something gets tripped, you like push it in or whatever. And I was just like, they have no fucking clue what they're doing. here. This is-
Also, speaking of not knowing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's funny to like know what everything is in a scene and be like, this is just 100% the most bullshit.
And
I know
At
what you
least-
mean. I saw sorry, go ahead, Bob.
at least they didn't crawl through the air ducts, right, Juice?
Yes, thank God.
A bridge too far.
A bridge too far.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean though, because it really like when I saw the monsters, the fish monsters are like serving up some paper mache swamp thing realness in this fucking movie. They are out here flaunting the lack of functioning like facial features. There's no puppetry going on except to open the mouth. You might as well have a Muppet.
And it had like melted marshmallow when they open up the mouth.
Yeah.
The teeth were like
Yeah.
these jagged things that they just kind of jammed in there to make teeth. And then when they open the mouth, it's all like melted marshmallow. It was horrible.
Dude,
And
honestly,
the same
this thing.
thing-
Sorry, go ahead.
The same thing with the Terminator. I'm sorry, the T-800. I mean, the Kill guy. You know, he's
Kill guy.
they took like an empty half one of those plastic eggs and put that on his arm and then put like transistors and wires in there, and that's the signal that he's a robot. Then the thing on his face was just like a piece of latex. Then they took like wiring and stuff and put that on there, and then another clear piece of latex on there, which head on was fine, but then when he turned his head and it like stuck out an extra 3 inches from his face,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was bad.
Yeah. It was
Also-
bad.
I love how they wanted you to look at it though. They thought it was hotter shit than
Oh,
it was
yeah.
because he walks up on that scene through Venice and they pause and he even like turns to the side like he's looking around the corner or some shit so you could see the fucking makeup. It's so bad.
How many times did he tell you, I am basically saying I'm the pinnacle of technology. I'm immortal. You can't kill me.
Indestructible. Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you do to me?
I am tubular.
Well, our guns can't exactly do anything, but god damn it, our fire extinguishers can.
Or
Yeah,
a broken
Steve
piece
sure
of
can.
glass. Yeah, they shoot him.
Yeah.
It's constantly with shotguns, nothing. But she picks
Nothing.
up a broken bottle in the streets
Yeah.
of Venice and cuts half that bitch's face off.
Yep.
How
Man.
do you guys understand how she actually defeats him in the end? Does that make sense to any of you guys?
No,
Yes.
no. I wanted to bring.
Yes.
It does. Okay. All right, Michael. You have to explain this shit to me.
kinda
Yeah.
forgot.
What happened, man?
Okay,
She just threw a remote at him.
the same remote that's their tracker that was just they put new stickers on the outside, but it was what she did was kind of programmed it to send him back to the dead Venice and threw it at him, and that was the explosion was him
I
going
see,
back
okay.
to
So it was like the
that
time thing. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
She sent him back and forward in time.
yeah, that was that time remote that she had when she got into the time pod at the end.
Okay.
I thought that was just the tracker still, and that's all that was.
They look
Okay.
similar because all they
Yeah.
did
Put
had
new buttons on.
It's the same.
I want
They-
I want to
Something-
talk to Bob about that too. The fucking shit that they use in this fucking movie is clearly just a fucking meter. They bought at
Oh, yeah.
Harbor Freight for like $3 fucking
At
bucks
Harbor
and put some
Freight.
fucking light brights on that shit.
1989's Harbor
In-
Freight.
In fairness,
In
that sort
Italy,
of thing
yeah.
isn't like. In fairness, like I mean, I don't know what that fucking particular item is, but they use like there. You'll see a lot of like the same, like prop used in a bunch of different movies. I know that the Ghostbusters EKG reader or whatever it is they have. I know that's seen in a bunch of other movies and shit like that. The thing is, that's a unique looking item. It's
Yeah.
not like a calculator, or it's not
Well,
like
even-
a remote designed for people who can't see very well with giant buttons, which is what the time machine thing looked like.
even the sets though, like you talked about it, they filmed in a very limited area, and that one wall where there's like 8 of those giant tubes going down the side of the wall. You
Mhm.
saw that at least, I want to say, about 22 times in that movie. They ran by that exact same wall. So they had a very small space, very small budget for doing this. It was
Dude.
bad.
Part of me wants to say like, nah, I mean, there's a limit to how like if you're really trying to make a good fucking film, you can find ways around that even with like it's clear that they have something of a warehouse at their disposal. I feel like you could avoid doing that as much as they did, but they just kind of said fuck it. I feel like there's a lot of fuck it in this script.
Yeah.
Which is
I
funny
love-
though, because I feel like they actually took some efforts. Like effort was taken.
Yeah.
Like their
In
outfits
parts, though.
match, like from an aesthetic. It's not just like regular old camo. Like they tried to make it look like something.
Spacey.
Yeah.
It looked very
Um,
inspired by V.
Dude, it reminded me very I mean it is kind of like V actually. It was interesting to me that the Space Marines have like yellow accents. Dr. Lady, April O'Neil has pink accoutrement on hers, and then the corporate drone Terminator dude has black and red. Like they're clearly making like aesthetic decisions or whatever based on what they think is appropriate for a character. Well, she's lady, so pink it is. But like I don't know, man. Like that all kind of fucking doesn't matter if like earlier in this film you see the captain with what's clearly like a bloody handprint on his shoulder that is never explained and doesn't come up again later. It's very obvious that they just didn't have an alternate costume for this guy that could be cleaned up. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but there's just like a full handprint on this dude's shoulder as he's given lines before they go into the fucking place where they're getting killed.
I did not.
I
notice
think
that.
everybody had to
Yeah,
bring their
dude.
own. I think everybody had to bring their own costume. Like the girl in the control center at one point, she's sitting there with the jean jumpsuit on, completely different from everybody else. Everybody else is also running around with black combat boots on, and she's got white Nikes.
I didn't know.
She had no speaking lines, thankfully. They come over and somebody says something to her and she just looks up and smiles and nods. And that was her whole speaking line. But she was so out of place as well. I think everybody had to bring their own costume.
I hope you're right, because that means that there was like a dance troupe or something with fucking yellow accented, big shouldered fucking jackets that they hired for this movie. I guarantee you that's where like half the cast of this came from. Just a dance troupe on the streets of fucking Rome or wherever this guy's from.
There's a countdown happening in the last act of this movie that's like, I forget how long it is. It's like 10 minutes or something like that. And they're counting
Never
down.
ending.
Dude, yeah,
Yeah.
the fucking countdown.
It's
Jesus.
it's supposed to like add a lot of tension to the movie, and the countdown ends. And like it's all supposed to explode, but nothing happens, and there's a lot of silence, and our characters go about their business, and then another countdown starts. There's just a new
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I
Dude.
was so confused by that.
There's two separate countdowns. Self-destruct, and the other
The
one is
final
the countdown
countdown.
to the self-destruct.
There's a countdown to the final countdown.
You got to count down to the countdown so that you know
Before
you
how
can
it
count down.
goes. You got to count down so you can count down. I mean, this
That
is just
shit.
normal stuff, guys. Come on.
That shit got me. It got me good.
Yeah, when it got
There's
to
also, like-
one and nothing happened, I was like, wait, what the fuck? And then it just
you
started.
roboted out, and I don't know.
Yeah,
what
you
you said,
roboted.
dog.
Oh, sorry.
Are you from the Tubular Corp?
Dude, I
Mhm.
am from the future, Venice Bush.
I am the most advanced soju of all time.
And I love he just hides his arm. He just keeps his hand over it to hide that he's a robot.
Right?
Yeah.
Why
it's
would
like
he
a
just like
dude,
rip it
yes.
off?
I was so
Or
confused.
pull
You
your
have
sleeve
sleeves.
down.
You have sleeves. And though he holds that for like a full like 30 minutes of fucking runtime. Whenever you see him, he's just kind of
Mhm.
covering it up with his hand.
You know,
Buddy,
it's
you're
like-
not that advanced. I'm sorry.
when he was covering it up, I thought like, oh, he's not a robot. He's a guy who got injured and maybe he's like infected and is about to turn into a robot and he's trying to cover it up so they don't find out and kill his ass. Because why would a robot just cover up his shit like that? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you would think that the most advanced piece of technology, impenetrable thing, would know how sleeves work and know
Right.
that you can use them to conceal things.
Mhm.
I took a note. There's this one scene where they finally get to safety after they've been running from these monsters. So the squad is still kind of together, what's left of the squad. And they get to this new kind of safe room, which looks the same as every other room they've been in. And the Sarah, she's like talking to Samantha, and she's like calming her down, like, I'll keep you safe, or whatever. And she gives her this little trinket to say, like, oh, this will like keep you safe or something, whatever it is. But when she does, this like 80s porn music comes on. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
It was so weird.
That happens like multiple times, doesn't it? I feel like that's not the only time that happens.
Probably
It was
not.
just when that was the first time I noticed it, when she's talking to this like little girl and it's like fucking porn music comes on, and like the scene doesn't change. It's not like it's like at the beginning of the conversation. It's literally like in the middle of the conversation.
Dude, I was
Perfect.
struck by how, like, I had just watched Boogie Nights like 2 nights before this, and so I was like, man, these people are acting like fucking Mark Wahlberg and what's her name, the redhead, I forget her name, were acting in that movie when they were playing porn stars poorly acting. That's how everyone in this movie acts, just without the hard cock or whatever. Like, no lines
I
about
mean,
hard cock.
You don't know, Randy.
I
They
mean,
could
yeah,
be
who knows? But
rigid for all you know.
and power to him. No kink shame. But I'm just saying, like April O'Neil lookalike. It's like April O'Neil with like complete charisma deficiency.
True.
That was
Very
all
true.
from Alien too, because she basically gave the tracker to that kid just like Ripley did to Newt. So
She stopped running from the imminent danger of a corporate drone Terminator chasing them and said, wait a minute. And then after like a half hour of knowing this girl and trying to protect her all this time, then she gets the idea to stop in her tracks, apply this thing, and then the guy comes around the corner, like, oh shit, like, why did you do this a half hour ago? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I was
I don't know,
really
man.
waiting and hoping for a Loader versus Terminator fight scene.
Yeah. They don't have the budget for that, man. It would be literally
That would've
like
been
she'd be wearing
badass.
ducts. She would just be wearing loose duct work.
Yes.
I do.
Classic
That would have
robot.
been dope.
I would have
Yeah.
loved that to watch. At this, like that would have paid off the whole movie to me.
Duckworth.
She would have looked like fucking Lisa Simpson's Florida costume. Like,
Oh
Oh,
my
shit.
god, this fucking movie.
this movie is far better to talk about than it is to watch, which makes me think that yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I'm gonna revise my recommendation to say that yeah, if you're in a room with your buddies and having a drink, I think that's a good call.
Yeah, if we
Yeah,
would have all watched
yeah.
this together, that probably would have been a shit ton of fun.
Would have been better. Yeah.
I mean,
This,
I've looked down the barrel of movies like mixed up zombies movie and shit like that. Like,
Thanks.
I know what true hell is.
You are welcome.
Yeah, this
There's-
wasn't like the worst movie I've ever seen, and I could see where it would be entertaining. Just the bold audacity of the complete ripoff and how shit makes absolutely like going from the monsters to the Terminator to time travel to just like it's like what the there's like entertainment.
yeah,
in that.
they
The
kinda-
worst
okay.
kind of entertainment, but
You have smart zombies who are infected through the viral air. You have a pollution subplot. You have fucking fish paper mache monsters. You have a
Evil
Terminator.
corporation.
You have time travel. You have the evil corporation trope. You have like this movie is just really going for broke with tropes. It really is.
True.
Oh my God.
There's a scene where the woman, our main woman, Sarah, stumbles upon this like Tubular Corp shareholder video, and she like the woman on the video is explaining how they're just gonna like further pollute the city to create a dead city and then
Yeah, what the
resell all the property and like make a bunch of money. I guess.
I
But
don't
it's all
understand
like
this plot.
polluted.
Yeah.
70% to current value. That's a loss. Why are they doing
Yeah.
that?
I don't
That's
know.
right. That's right.
I
Even
don't know.
literally the numbers they quote as the benefit of doing so. I guess because they're also like got contracts to clean it up. Maybe that makes up the difference. But that's like a level of detail this movie I don't have no faith this movie thought about.
True.
Like this is like Ben Shapiro saying, "Oh, if there's flooding going on and your house goes underwater, just sell your property." It's like, yeah, fucking that doesn't work. People aren't going to purchase something that is polluted
Yeah.
to shit and in the
Let's
water
ruin all of our property value so we can sell it
for money.
Yeah.
If your
Low
big
dollar.
master plot involves you destroying your own assets, yeah, I mean, I don't know that you're thinking all that hard about it.
Like, let's throw a big massive party and just like fuck up our entire house before we sell it.
There's another plot point a little bit after that where the Marine like robot guy says that he's going to go blow up the aqueduct, which we have never heard of until this point in the movie. I'm pretty sure he's going to blow up the aqueduct, and then that's going to pollute the rest of the world. So now he's going to.
I forgot about that.
Like,
Yeah,
what?
they're talking about and pollute the whole world. There's something weird like forced Captain Planetisms going on later in this, like really throughout, but like they really lean into it right at the end just to justify another moment of danger from the cyborg in the past now in the modern day, I guess you would call it. I don't know, man. This movie has a lot of fucking like moments. None of them are cohesive, and it's all like funny to talk about. These notes I have, man.
These notes.
Look at
Dude,
these notes.
Okay.
Ooh.
Here's something, and I gotta like visually show this. So this is a bonus for the
I'm
behind the
seeing
scenes.
Here we go.
YouTube.
Okay. So
Oh, Randy,
there's a
what do you-
scene. There's a scene where the fucking cyborg is chasing them or whatever, and is saying, "You can't hurt me with those guns" and all that shit. And they keep shooting him over and over again. They shoot him like right here, and in response, he does this. He leans his head backwards in recoil. His head, which is a full 2 feet from where the fucking gun wound is.
Thank you for the demonstration.
It's impossible
Randy.
it's impossible to discuss that and like have it make sense without showing. I'm convinced of that. But it was like, I don't know, man. It was some like JFK the movie level bullshit where it's like just like why is he moving that way? That's not how you recoil if you're shot in the fucking gut.
That fish creature that gets shot in the head, and we see that same shot like 8 times, used at different times. Was that like made of plaster and they just shot the actual plaster? Because doesn't it like explode into white?
It does.
It
Yeah.
does,
looked
yeah.
white. Yeah.
Styrofoam.
Yeah.
Well, they clearly didn't have a lot of fucking costumes or any of that shit because at every turn you barely ever see like the full face unless it's like the same shot, like you're talking about, the same shot of it menacing the camera or getting blown up, and then the other shots are all like claw creeping in from off camera, Nosferatu style, trying to grab at him. Like that happens like 7
Yeah.
times. They clearly just had a glove and that's it, and they had already spent their wad on one fish costume when they got 2 shots and it exploded. So.
Yeah, anytime they shoot it, it's the same like shot of its head and it turns really quickly. Like this movie is so stupid.
It really is. It's fun.
Did you guys notice like the one Italian guy? Like I'm sure
Oh, yeah.
most of the actors are Italian, but there's this one
Mhm.
character in here that's supposed to be like the Italian guy, and he has the worst Italian accent I've ever heard in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does not
Fabrizio
sound
or
Italian.
whoever. Yeah.
Yeah.
man.
Tetrazzini.
It's just the girl too, like her crazy accent. It's just like I guess because her dad's the scientist, I guess it can kind of like make more sense, but I couldn't tell like, are they trying? Well, it's set in Venice, but they're trying to like pretend everybody's Americans. I don't know. It was just very confusing.
Dude,
The first like 2 times I saw this movie, I thought, knowing Bruno's film style, I thought all of these were actors from other countries, and then they dub the English actors over it. But if you
Mhm.
watch it, no, their lips match exactly what they're saying. They were that bad.
I thought so too at first. I was like, are these dubs? And I paid attention to it. I
Yeah.
was like, no, they're not.
yep,
That makes
that's-
sense. Italian movies did that back in the day. They dub everything, even if you're speaking the correct
Yep.
language for some reason.
There
but
were
not
definitely
here.
some there are definitely some people that could have benefited from some dubbing in this movie.
Yeah.
The captain's captain, whatever, the guy that's in the control room for most of the movie and gets murked like right away as soon as he goes beyond the door. He has like, he sounds normal or whatever, but like the way he's dressed, he's supposed to be a commanding person or whatever, who's in charge, but he sounds like such a weenie. He's just got such like a kind of like a weenie voice. I don't know if anybody noticed that. It's a really weird thing that maybe only I thought about, but like everybody's voice in this movie is like trying to be really imposing and doing that 80s deep drawl thing. And he's like, all right, you guys report back when you get to the other side and all this stuff. And it's not an accent. It's just like
pretty good.
super high pitched sort of deal that
Nerd.
like
Nerd
yeah,
voice.
but he looks like every other white dude in this movie, which is
Yeah.
big burly white dude with fucking pointy shoulders. That's every person in this movie that's white.
But he's a scientist.
I don't know, man.
Don't know what else to say about this movie. Do you guys have
Yeah.
anything else you need to touch on before we rate it?
I could read you some of my notes.
Are they worth reading?
Oh yeah. One
Okay.
of them says, "Uh-oh, time travel has entered the chat." Also, this is a note of note where when they're trying to get into the time pod, which they don't know is a time pod at this time, they're just like found something that's a keypad and just start pushing buttons and somehow guess the right code. And then they get into the pod and they start pressing buttons on the time thing, and then that somehow works. They are just fucking batting 1,000 on guesswork.
That fucking sequence where they're trying to guess the code, she's like, Zara, Zara. It's like, bitch, I'm trying to punch the fucking code in.
The code was just 6969.
Probably.
Hell yeah.
We all know.
It's probably hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
696.
Hell yeet. I gotta spell that out with the numbers though, of course.
1989.
Dude, also, speaking of the railing kills, I have a note here that I forgot about. There's even a fucking railing kill in like the past Venice. There's a guy who goes over the railing of a bridge just because he happens to walk near the corporate drone Terminator guy.
He throws
He's
that
just-
bitch over.
He just hurls that bitch right over the fucking bridge.
Into the drink you go.
Like, man, even when they're not in fucking industrial zone, they have to be throwing people over railings.
It's the easiest way
There's
to
also-
kill people in Venice.
I also
Throw
wrote
There's
over a
water
cliff.
everywhere. There's dead ends and water. That's
Oh, yeah.
Venice. That's it.
It's like the water temple. I think there's like, okay, here's a note. I wrote, LOL, the smooth calypso muzak lets us know that the time machine worked. As soon as they go back, there's just this pleasant, like, fucking diddly ass guitar music playing. I just thought that was so funny. It's one of those things that's tough to describe. I also,
That
when I was
fucking
done with this
porn
movie,
music fucking had me dying, dude. Anytime it came on, I lost my shit.
the last thing I'll say is I have a note here that says Tubi saw me watch all of Shocking Dark, and its next recommendation was called Bigfoot versus the Illuminati. You know me
Let
too
it
well,
roll.
old friend.
Let it roll. Shit. All right. Michael, anything else you want to throw in before we rate this?
I think everybody needs to see this movie. I really do.
All right. Already recommend. Well, let's go and rate this thing out of 5. Juice, why don't you do the honors and kick us off? How you feel about Shocking Dark?
Okay. I like this movie a lot more when I thought it was made in 2018. Unfortunately, it was not. It was made in like what 1988 or something like that.
Yeah, released in 89. I think 2018 is when the Blu-ray came out.
This movie's brutal. It really was like a time suck. And even though I found like some of it entertaining and how bad it was, it did baffle me. It like blew me away at how slow it seemed to move. Randy was absolutely right. Like I just even watching it like 15 minutes at a time, I was like, dear God, how is this still going? How has it been 2 minutes? It really was blowing my mind. The acting is terrible. The dialogue is terrible. They did try though. Like there are some things like aesthetic wise that at least they kept consistency. And like, you know, it's probably the only place they could shoot. But I mean, with the outfits, they tried to like give it some kind of an aesthetic, and they tried to make some shit and tie light brights to it, make it look futuristic. I mean, somebody was putting some effort into this, and like it showed in some capacity. But it just does not make a lick of sense. It's a clear ripoff of like more popular films, just kind of mushed together. Mostly just aliens, actually. Mostly just aliens, and then they throw some Terminator shit in there for some reason. Oh man, it would have been more fun to watch as a group, but I could see the value in it even then, like of that, but it was tough to watch it alone. But overall, I'll give it a 0.5. I can't really give it any higher than that, so I'm not going to.
Wow, 0.5 from Juice. All right,
Yep.
Michael, why don't you go next? How you feel about Shocking Dark?
Okay. I disagree and agree. Everything about this movie was, the first time I watched it, horrible, infuriating even. It really made me mad. It pissed me off beyond belief, and I thought this is going to be great for me to try and torture somebody else later on with. The second time I saw it, I was like, all right, it got a little better. I knew what to expect this time. I had a lot of fun watching it. The third time I watched it with my wife. I've told her, now watch this. You're going to see that same wall 22 more times. Here we go. And she laughed. And then within like 20 seconds, you see the wall again, which is supposed to be in a different area. And she started laughing. I saw that you could have a lot of fun when you watch this with other people and you riff on it and you just have a good time. This movie feels very much like what was that kid on YouTube that was taking all his favorite movies and then going out and filming the exact same thing but doing it like in his backyard.
Sweeting.
Yeah, I think that was him. It very much like that, but this is like a 45-year-old grown Italian guy ripping off with stuff. You expect more. But it was fun. I really had a lot of enjoyment watching this. I love everything, pretty much everything Mattei does. Yes, Italy is known for ripping off or at least trying to cash in on the names. Like when Dawn of the Dead was released in Italy, it came out as Zombie. So when Fulci released Zombie, it came out as Zombie 2 to cash in on the popularity of Romero's Dead series. Italians are known for that. You kind of have to expect it. I enjoyed it, and I think everybody needs to see a couple of Mattei films. I'm going to give this one a 2.
Wow, a 2.
It's
From
actually somehow
Michael.
lower than I expected.
I'm going to jump in here real quick. I think this movie is sort of like a fun little oddity, specifically just knowing that how it was released in Italy and like how it's biting off all these American movies and stuff. It's something that like I wasn't really eminently aware of until I heard of this movie and saw this, like how blatantly they just ripped off Terminator and just didn't give a shit. It's fun to watch in a crowd for sure. It's got some hilarious moments in it, and it's nonsensical, and I don't know, it's got some entertainment value to it. As far as like the craft of the movie, the acting, the script, the set design, all like the technical merits of this are just pretty much in the garbage. They're real bad. Some of the music is kind of entertaining, I guess. But I think just on like enjoyment value, it's going to carry it to a 2.5 for me.
What?
Wow.
Wow, beat me.
Rob,
Higher than me. Wow.
you are really, really turning into somebody I don't know that I like, Rob.
Yeah.
You
First
take
the-
that back.
First the Being,
Okay,
and
I
now
take it.
this bomb.
Dude, this is The Being. The Being is incredible. This movie is just decent. This movie's enjoyable. It's
This movie is certainly better than The Lodge, says Bob.
I would much rather watch this than The Lodge. Yeah, I would. Just one man's opinion. Randy, how you feel
Yeah,
out
it
of
is.
5?
So, I mean, you guys said a lot of what I had to say. I think kind of the biggest thing that is missing for me from this movie, or the biggest problem I had with this movie, was the pacing. I must have paused this thing 100 times thinking, okay, it's got to have taken off another 15 minutes and it'll be like 2.5. And I'll just be like, how is this happening? It took me 2 days to watch it, which almost never happens. I try to do it all in one sitting. I was fighting so hard to stay off my phone that I literally had to put it across the room from me to stop from looking at it for a minute. And then I brought it back and I was like, okay, I'll just take notes. That's how I'll do this. And that was a fucking error. Anyway, I don't know. So to me, this seems like the movie that all my biggest problem with this movie could be solved by having a get together with friends, watching it and riffing on it, or otherwise having people that are funnier than us riff on it. I think that this movie deserves to be in the pantheon of films that is good for that. And I think that maybe one day it'll be considered among The Rooms and things like that. But I don't know, on its own, having to watch it by myself was not enjoyable. So it's going to get a pretty low rating. Here are some remaining notes that I had from my notes list. Somebody said the quote, "Get out the KY so we can shaft him real good."
Yeah.
Kowalski got slapped in the face to death over a railing. And then here's a quote, a back and forth quote that says, "Either you come with us or I blow your head off." The drone says, "Do I have a choice?" And the guy goes, "No." And I'm sitting there like, you just told him the choice. You told him what the choice was. You just said, "Here's the two choices." And you said, "Do I have a choice?" Fuck you. Not a perfect
they
robot.
do that again. They do that twice. That happens again twice, where he says like, "Do I have a choice?" or something like that.
Oh my god.
When the guy is talking about the organism and the girl comes up and says, "What do you find?" and he blatantly describes what he just found, and then she says again, "What did you find?" and he has to do it again, but with different words. So.
Oh my god, that's so funny. And then there's this interaction that you harken back to, Michael, where you said, where Sarah is confronting the drone or whatever who's about to kill her. She says, "Why didn't you kill us before?" And he says, "Because I was waiting for the exactly the right time. That is now," which is not an answer. Not an answer. Why didn't you kill before? If that was all you needed to do, then why didn't you fucking do that? Oh my god. I just want to watch this with friends. I feel like my score would change substantially because of that experience. But as it was, I got to give this a 1 and leave it at that. It's not a good movie, but it's good potentially for a room filled with drinks and buddies. That's the best I can give it.
All right. A 1 from Randy is going to put our aggregate at a 1.5.
So
Let's go ahead.
high.
Is that high? A 1.5?
Yeah.
It's high for this
For
movie.
this movie, yeah. Off of a
We're
movie
We're
that
talking a
completely
2.5 here, Juice. I don't think it's gonna.
Yeah.
We're preaching to the wrong choir here.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users think about Shocking Dark.
Certified fresh to death.
All right. So for those who don't know, this is our Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these three gentlemen guess to the best of their abilities between 0 and 100% what percentage of critics and then users approved of this film, gave it a positive review. So it's a percentage of positive reviews. Now, this is going to be a less than stellar segment this week because there is no critics consensus and no critics counted at all. No critics have reviewed this movie. 0. So we're just going to jump straight to the audience score, which has 232 user ratings. We are scraping only 232 people left a fucking, how many people leave fucking reviews on tongue scrapers and toothbrushes? This is 230 people. This is nobody. Very few people involved here. So judge accordingly. I'm going to start with Juice. Juice, what do you think that the users, these 232 people, what do you think they thought of this movie?
I gotta believe there's more of me's out there than there are of Bob's, but this movie does have a bit of a reputation, I believe. So I'll go a scotch higher and say 13%.
13. That's the elevated score you have.
That's the elevated because mine would be 10%. All right. So yeah, 13.
All right. Good to know. All right. Michael, let's go with you. Let's see what you have to say on this one. Opposite side of
Um,
the spectrum.
I'm gonna go higher than him. I'm gonna say 20.
20 percentile. All right, Bob, wrap it up. What do you think it's going to be?
Lock
Comedy
me
number?
in with the no, that's too high. Give me a 30%.
30%. You are an optimist at heart.
True.
So let me see. Do some quick head math. Not my best subject. Okay.
Whoa.
Michael's going to take this one. Nice guest win here. This is actually an 18%. 18. So
Ooh,
Juice, you
all
weren't too
right.
far off,
Yeah.
but Michael edged you out there.
Hey, Michael.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
I was hoping that you would win so I could give you the hell yeet because you need this. You deserve them.
No, he doesn't.
Hey, one day I'll
Just-
No, he doesn't.
Deserves got
Dude,
nothing to
I'm
do
gonna
with
give
it, I
you-
assure you.
I'm gonna give you a hell yeet just for the hell of it.
Ooh, thanks, Michael. That's a good hell yeah.
Boy,
Mm,
man, you keep filleting the cast like this. You're going to be on every week.
See how you do it, boys? See how you be a good loser, Bob? See how you do it?
man.
Bob.
No. So that's it. That's all we got for Rotten Maters this week.
Yeah,
All right.
that's it. That's nothing more.
Juice, any trivia on this?
No, we pretty much covered just kind of the general when it was released, how it ripped off like these certain movies in the
Mhm.
main review. Nothing special that I found.
The only thing I wanted to mention for sure here, I mentioned the writer whose name is Claudio Fragrasso. He and Bruno Mattei worked on like a bunch of movies. They worked together like hand in hand for a solid decade on a bunch of movies. But Claudio Fragrasso is probably more well known for having directed Troll 2, the gem that is Troll 2.
The
My
gym.
God.
Yeah,
This
wanted to
How does
throw
this
that.
man make these movies?
he learned
How
from the
does this
best.
happen? Yeah.
That Family Guy episode. How does he keep getting work?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm looking at Bruno's filmography right now. There's some quality names in here. He's like Michael said, Women's Camp 119. That's pretty hilarious. Fucking Hell of the Living Dead, Caligula and Messalina, Rats, Night of Terror, Zombie 3, of course. You gotta get a zombie entry in there. Cop Game, Robo War. I don't know. There's just so many fucking movies in here. God,
Zombie 3, not a bad movie. Just gonna throw that out there.
Libido Mania.
Wow. I
Yep.
think Michael's grabbing his copy of Libido Mania off the shelf right now.
Oh,
as we
yeah.
speak.
That's over there. I can't reach that one yet.
Damn. Man.
um,
All
all right. Well,
No,
So
if
no
you're live,
triv.
I'll show you, but nah, I can't reach him.
too far. If there is no trivia, then we're gonna go. It's time to go hunting. Let's find our cooter of the week.
Straight chillin'. Gooder of the week.
Jonathan Davis himself made us that bump. So thank you, sir.
Yes.
Jim Davis?
Jim Davis
The Garfield guy?
drew that bump for us himself.
Ah, yes.
Wow.
What's cooter? What are we doing, Juice?
We are going hunting. This is Cooter of the Week, straight chillin' exclusive. We are looking for the Cooter, which is a character type. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter. And the Cooter who has the most points is considered Cooter of the Week. The 5 points are smug arrogance. Smug arrogance.
Are you
Sexual
okay?
yes. Smug arrogance, sexual deviance, overall looking attire, overall patheticness, and manipulation. That was a good one. Yeah. So boys, who we taking to Cooter Court this week?
Man, I mean, I feel like there's a thin layer of cooter on this entire movie.
Yeah, just kind of
I-
coated with cooterdom.
I've got a lot of thing. Like, okay, but I'm gonna go Bruno Mattei. the
All right.
director of this movie. Can we just
All right.
let's go ahead and talk about
Bob
him.
is all right, thinking outside the box
Mi-
today. We're going Bruno.
Michael's upset.
Bob, why
Yeah.
you have to justify yourself? Give me one of the 5 points.
Ooh, you are a robot today. You he's manipulating for sure. Big manipulator here.
Manipulate.
This
yes.
is not Terminator 2.
Look-
This is not a sequel to Alien or Aliens. I mean, come on.
It's the old bait and
Yeah.
switch. Classic.
So hardcore manipulator. I don't know what this guy looks like. I'm looking up images of him right now to see if he's a snazzy
Ah,
dresser.
I
if
I feel like he's
looking
got
kinda
some
creepy.
shoulder pads.
He just looks kind of like a regular dude. I don't know. He's got
All right,
he's
so
got a tie on.
That sounds like a
some
no.
glasses.
How about smug arrogance?
I think it's pretty arrogant to make a sequel to Terminator before anybody else actually has a chance to make a Terminator sequel.
like
you
James
know?
Cameron or somebody?
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like anybody legally had the chance to make a sequel. He's like, let me slide into them DMs real quick and just offer up my version.
And also too, like it seems like they
fiction.
had to shift to Terminator 2, where clearly the ripoff was Aliens.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
Last minute rewrites.
Yeah.
Which that may be a dash of patheticness, maybe. He's like, I don't know, it's Aliens, but wow, they already made Aliens, but they haven't made Terminator 2
I think
yet,
the
so-
patheticness would be coming from like just ripping shit off and not being able to make your own damn movie.
I don't
But
know
you
though,
are
man. It could be just a hustle. Like
Yeah.
This is
Call
a
it
guy trying to make a
pathetic
living.
and ripping off. I call it inspiration because after this we got Terminator 2, so I think he inspired.
Yeah, this movie. Did you know that
You're
Edward
right.
Furlong was birthed on the set of this film?
All
right, that went well- that went over
sexual
really good.
Sexual deviance, no. Attire, no. It sounds like 2 for sure, maybe 2.5. But the patheticness there, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot, like just a low level of cooterdom all across just about every character in this movie. If you wanted to really dissect it, but I don't know that there's any one character that is fleshed out enough, except for maybe Sarah, that you could point to as a cooter or not a cooter. And to my
Mhm.
eyes, she's mostly a plank of wood and not much more. So
Same.
What about the Tubular Corporation?
Samuel
Okay,
Fuller.
sure.
That's my nomination.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that is a pathetic plan. I'm giving you that right out the gate.
He is
Yeah,
pathetic.
we're-
He's manipulative by getting everybody to kind of go down there.
Yeah.
His costume is very of the time, but it is not great. I mean, you didn't see everybody walking around with that type of uniform, so I do give him the dress. That's 3 right there.
Yeah, manipulation,
Mhm.
arrogance. The man is not
Well,
shy about
that's
telling
four.
you how destructible or not destructible he is.
True.
He has no shyness around that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He'll
I
let
think
you know.
that's a pretty fair wager, actually.
The only
Yeah.
thing he really doesn't have is sexual deviancy that we see.
True. He's like, I mean, he's a robot, so I mean, I guess that's even maybe off the table in general, but he doesn't need it. I guess that's a pretty damning list of offenses right there.
Yeah. That's some good hunting though, Michael. Good job.
Yeah. You sniffed him out. I think we can book him, right?
Yeah, book 'em, boys.
Sounds good. I like it. We got the robot. The robot's been booked. All right. Anybody else? Is that it? I think that's pretty much everybody that
I
we
think the
possibly
robot was also the cooter in Alien, I believe.
could. Yeah,
There's- yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
We haven't
there's-
covered aliens on here, so we haven't been hunting there.
Dude.
But
Hell.
We
There's
had
also the immense amount of like fucking racial slurs and shit coming out of the Marines as a unit. They're just going back and forth with this shit.
Yeah.
Vasquez
could-
was my second choice. I mean, Coster was my second choice.
Coster, yeah. Yeah, Vasquez Coster, same person, different capabilities.
Yeah. We had a solid cooter talk when we were talking about Alien. That was a good one. Check that out from last year, episode number, I don't know, 263. I don't know. Something
Sounds right to me.
Sure.
But hey, we got the Cooter of the Week. Let's go ahead and let our hair down. We're getting into the social hour. We're talking about what we've been watching this week.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
I'm gonna let our beautiful guest go first. Hey, Michael, what you been watching this week?
I'm beautiful.
Yeah, man, you looking good.
Say it again.
Well, now I feel weird about it.
Let's see.
Yes,
Well,
Bob.
I watched this a few
Yeah.
times. I watched the Night Stalker documentary on Netflix. Learned a few things I didn't know about that, which I thought was a little strange because we go through this. If you're in horror, you kind of end up learning about actual serial killers and what inspired a lot of the horror. And I learned things during this documentary I did not know about him, like his effects with what he did with children, how bad his teeth were, various things like that. Let's see what else I watched. I started watching the new series, Call Me Cat, on what is it, Fox or something like that, NBC. And then because I watched that, I watched the show that it was inspired by, Miranda. It was a BBC Brit comedy show. That was fun. Let's see, and I think that's just. And I've started watching Key and Peele from the beginning because I was never really a fan of the show. But the more I've watched it, the more I've kind of watched little clips on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, that's it. I got to watch the whole thing, and I started watching it from beginning to end. And that's about it.
It's a good
Solid.
list.
Yeah, that's a little bit of everything. I
Yeah.
dig. Juice, what you been watching?
I finally finished The Mandalorian. I watched it over the past couple weeks. It was good. It was good. I know I'm like late to the party on this, thinking this is a good show, but I actually, because I enjoy the Star Wars universe like enough. I'm not crazy about it, but I know like all the characters and all the plot lines like pretty well, and I was pretty pleased with this. It also, I really enjoy the show Firefly, and this is just Firefly in the Star Wars universe, and so
Oh, yeah.
that's yeah.
Firefly is just Star Wars, but
well,
no Luke.
yeah, but I enjoyed it, and I thought they did a really good job wrapping it up where it ended on the second season. I was very pleasantly surprised by that. I've also
Did
been
you
watching
cry?
this. Did I cry? I did not cry. I did not.
You're heartless.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe.
Ah, you're a monster.
It's possible. I've been watching a Korean show that came out like a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, called Sweet Home. And it is on Netflix. And it's kind of like a Korean take on like Resident Evil. It's kind of what it reminds me of. It takes place in this apartment building that's, I don't know, maybe like 15-20 stories high, so it's kind of like in an isolated area, but there are these monsters that mutate, and they all kind of have different shapes and looks to them from these types of mutations. I haven't finished it yet. It is one I plan to do a mini or a bonus review on our Patreon, but I gotta finish it. It's about 10 episodes long. They're each about an hour a piece, so it is it's got a little heft to it, especially because you got to read the subtitles, but it's interesting and pretty solid so far, so I look forward to finishing that up. And I watched Twister the other day too. 90s
Nice.
classic. Hips don't lie,
Yeah.
dude. He's got them things.
Yeah.
cocked.
Those hips never
God.
can tell a lie.
That dude has
Loaded.
always got them things locked and loaded. But and I was like, hey, you know what? That's horror adjacent enough that maybe one day we could even cover Twister on the Straight Chilling podcast.
Ooh, disaster
open to
movies.
it. Yeah. Does that, yeah.
We
Should-
haven't really
sure.
done a big disaster movie yet, so maybe
2012 's
I
just
don't know.
sitting there, bro.
Maybe Twister is gonna be popping that cherry one day. So I hope so. But I
Gotta
actually
be a better way to say that.
I really enjoyed Twister like growing up. It's a 90s classic. I loved it for the retro feel, because that wasn't my time that I grew up in. But
Ah, yes.
Sure.
but it was fun to watch it again. Twister, solid flick. That's all I've been watching.
All right. Randy, what have you been watching?
Oh, geez. Well, it's just me in the house this week, which means that there's carte blanche on what I watch, and so there's a lot of garbage that I have watched.
And pornography.
And there's just like a lot of things that I just wouldn't have watched if I had anybody else in the room. Let's just start. There was a sale from Nintendo for a bunch of games. I ended up finally getting Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which is a Dragon Ball fighting game that I've had my eye on for a long time because it visually looks so much like just an episode of the show that it was very impressive to me. And as I've started playing it, the fucking story mode is basically an episode of that show, and I'm getting wild nostalgia vibes out of it. And it was like fucking $8 or some shit. It's extremely cheap right now, so I'm happy with that. I've been watching a YouTube channel called Let's Game It Out, which I think I shared on the Slack, which is a dude who just basically is so I don't know if anybody else, I know other people did this. I don't know if you guys did, but when I was a kid, I would play The Sims primarily to cause pain and havoc on the Sims that I was the lord over, and I would just trap them in rooms with clown paintings and take away, like, it was just like dumb edgelord bullshit that I love doing. That's basically what this is, but with like roller coaster. What is that called? Planet Coaster or Planet Roller Coaster or Planet Zoo? All these
Roller
like sort of like
Tycoon.
No, it's like a different one than that, but basically like the modern version of that. And it's like he'll do things like just have multiple roller coasters just bowling people over on a fucking sidewalk, and it is so goddamn funny. I can't recommend that enough. It is really, really funny to watch this dude and he takes the things to their breaking point where the like frame rate starts to dip and the thing crashes. It's very funny. And then I watched 2 movies the other night that were on opposite ends of the spectrum of both quality and pomp. So on one end, I watched a movie called My Dinner with Andre, which is something I've been meaning to watch for a long time. What's his name? William Shaw and another guy who I can't remember. But it's basically a movie about 2 dudes. I think it was made in the early 80s, late 70s, something like that. And they're having a conversation about the nature of reality and all this stuff. It goes into some deep territories. It's literally just a long conversation. It's kind of pompous and snooty in some level, but it's still an interesting conversation. It's interesting, sort of. It's like listening to a really interesting podcast where people talk about things more important than fucking Space Mutiny or whatever. So I enjoyed that. Okay, I thought it was pretty good. And then just to round that out, I watched one of the worst movies I've ever seen, which is called Haunting on Fraternity Row. And this movie, yeah, and this is a total like
Blu-ray, right, Rob?
Never heard of it. What is this?
So
I'm
this is a
looking it
movie
up
made
now.
there's a movie made in 2018. It's a low budget horror where basically it's like a haunted house cult movie where the haunted house is the frat house and they're throwing a big party, and it's very much like Project X half of the time, which is a movie I fucking loathe to my core. But it's
True.
but it's also like made clearly out of love for like frat culture and shit like that. And, I'm not part of that. That is so far from my interest group, but I kind of have a respect for how much like they're putting into like, there's so much love for that sort of culture. So, power to them on some level, but there's an aggressive amount of bikini ass shots in this movie. So that's the kind of thing you're getting. And then there's like, in like maybe every 20 minutes or so, after all the dumb fucking horrible drama, love triangle bullshit is out of the way, you'll have a really bad CGI ghost like slam somebody against a wall or something, and it's kind of funny. I actually did kind of enjoy it. It's bad it's so bad it's good sort of level, but not as much as this movie we watched tonight. I don't know if I'd ever watch it again, but I don't necessarily regret watching it either. It was a nice counterbalance to the most up its own ass movie I've ever seen called My Dinner with Andre. So that was my week. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Wow.
Did you
a lot
say
more trash.
fraternity row or sorority row?
Fraternity Row, and I'm pretty sure it's like a direct like reference to that movie, the title.
Okay. I'm
28.
just looking to buy it now.
On order.
Okay, all right.
Wow.
You tell me what you think about that one. Call in next week. Let us know.
I checked out a few movies this week. The first one I wanted to mention was it's a movie called Hunted. This is new on Shudder. It's sort of like a play on Little Red Riding Hood. It's about this woman goes out to a club, runs into this dude, and he seems like a genuinely nice guy. He kind of like helps her out throughout the evening, and then he just abducts her basically. And this dude and his counterpart are just kind of like playing with her. They abduct her as she gets away. They kind of stalk her throughout the evening. They end up in the middle of the woods. And she's kind of like fighting for her life at a certain point. It doesn't really do anything that you haven't already seen. There's like some really solid gore in the third act of this movie. And there's a lot of like pretty great like catharsis as well. Like this woman just like full on rages out and really annihilates some dudes, and it's kind of fun to watch, but it's nothing that's really gonna they're not reinventing the wheel in any way. It sort of reminded me a little bit of Revenge. It's a little more grounded than Revenge is, but it's in a similar vein anyways. So that's on Shudder if you would like to check that out. I also watched this movie called The King of Staten Island. It's like Judd Apatow's latest.
Isn't that a Baruchel?
No, it's got Pete
No?
Davidson in it,
Oh, right.
who's similar to Baruchel, I guess. Like, I don't know,
No.
maybe like the newer Baruchel.
Body type wise, maybe.
Yeah. Pete Davidson is like kind of hit or miss for me. He's funny sometimes. Sometimes he grinds on my nerves a little bit. He does a good job in this movie. The cast is good in this movie. It's Marissa Tomei's in it. It's got what's that fucking comedian's name? What's old redhead? I can't
Old
remember.
Red, yes, the red-headed comedian.
The
Old
redheaded
Red.
comedian.
Carrot
Top.
Yes.
I
this
want to see a
has-
horror movie with fucking Carrot Top in it.
God.
This has Carrot Top in it. No, it's pretty funny. It's grounded. It definitely pulls on your heartstrings. It's based on basically like Pete Davidson's real life, or like at least loosely based on Pete Davidson's real life. He's from Staten Island. His father was a firefighter who actually died in the process of putting out a fire. And I get, that's obviously like losing a parent early in life, very difficult to deal with. And it's sort of like him being an early 20-something, dealing with that, and then having this new father figure enter his life, and he's trying to sort of navigate all that. It's an Apatow movie. You kind of know what you're getting into with this. It's long as fuck because he doesn't know how to make a movie that's shorter than 2.5 hours, but it's worth watching if you like Apatow's style of humor. I think you'd probably get something out of it, and that's on HBO Max currently. Last thing I wanted to mention is a movie called 12-Hour Shift. I recently picked this up on Blu-ray. I think you can get this on VOD as well. This was written and directed by Brea Grant. I believe this was her directorial debut. It's starring Angela Bettis, and it's also got David Arquette in it. He's got kind of like a smaller role. And it's also got Mankind in it, the wrestler.
What?
Oh, damn. That dude's still alive.
Yeah.
No,
He
that dude's fucking.
is.
Mick Foley is a badass, actually.
I
Yeah.
just know he got
Yeah.
tore up like when
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
y'all were
Fucked up.
kids.
He still does shit in public eye, but not much wrestling, no.
Yeah, he's very much a smaller role in this movie. Basically, what happens in this movie, Angela Bettis' character, she's a nurse. She works at a hospital, and she has this deal worked out with her cousin where she basically smuggles organs. Her cousin delivers them to this like mobster guy, and he sells them on the black market, and they get money to do this. And the money sort of fuels Angela Bettis's addiction. She's addicted to various drugs. This is definitely like a horror comedy, though. It's very dark in premise, but sort of like some situational humor happening here with like they keep stealing these organs and then they lose them and crazy shit happens. Arquette plays this guy who murders somebody, but then like passes out in the hospital. So they like, or in the jail. So they bring him to the hospital, and he's like strapped down in the bed, and he escapes and starts murdering people. It's just a bunch of crazy shit going down in this movie. I'm gonna record a mini cast on this here sometime this week, and I'll throw that up on Patreon. So if you want to know the rest of my thoughts on 12-Hour Shift, check it out over on
Ooh, just a taste.
Patreon.
Leave them wanting more.
It's a little taste, a little taster for you. Also, I finished up Mandalorian, like Juice, and that show is really fucking good.
Sorry,
Really
Bob.
enjoyed
I
it.
spoiled some things for you. I thought you had finished it.
It is fine. Totally fine.
I was talking with Bob, and he had talked about it so much. I was like, "Yeah, he's surely finished with it."
Yeah, I had like
Holy cow, there's a
3
Yoda?
episodes left. Look at this tiny Yoda. Yeah, the thing that you mentioned, I have thoughts on, but I feel like you can't really talk about it. So yeah,
We'll
it's
discuss.
spoilers. Yeah,
Ooh, taboo subjects. I get it.
yeah, worth watching though. Mandalorian, good shit. Which
It's
everybody
been out
knows.
long enough. You can talk about it.
No, I'm not.
I was
into it.
actually,
I haven't seen
I
it,
was,
but I actually do not care.
I was blown away by like the actual ending of that show that I had not heard anything. Because some things I had like, oh,
Yeah.
this character pops up, like people post shit, but like the ending, just complete surprise for me. I was so pleased by that. I don't know, I like that.
A particular
I'm pretty
person
sure.
posted on their Twitter that they were surprised that everything kept so quiet, and
Yeah.
that particular person also commented later, before it released, have you seen anything good on TV yet? So they were kind of fishing
I
and
gotcha.
hinting. It was cool.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I know what this spoiler is, but fuck it.
Spoiler,
That was-
Randy.
That was not spoiled for me either. Interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been watching this week. We don't have any voicemails to play, but if you are listening and would like to call in and leave us a voicemail to be featured on next week's show,
We haven't
can
done
hit us
Hotline
up.
Kinks in a while.
yes, that's right.
Dude.
You can call and leave us a voicemail at 904-638-3231. It's a new year. Maybe you're getting into some new kinks. I don't know. Maybe you want to tell some strangers about it.
If you're
Why not
trying to
just
Tell me
call
spice
in?
it up in the bedroom, what have you tried so far?
That's right.
Tell me your top 5 railing kills.
How scared
Like-
are you of falling over a railing and to death?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how scared are you? This is not related, but I have to bring it up. I was looking at Bruno Mattei's IMDb, and on the side it has like user lists that he's involved in, that he's mentioned in, and one of them is just called Filmmakers with a Place in This World. And the first person on that list is Werner Herzog. So my mind instantly read that in Werner Herzog's voice. It's the funniest fucking filmmakers with a place in this world. That's terrible, but it's so, oh god, I love how fucking ridiculous that statement is. They have a place in this world. Well, yeah, fucking they're on it.
Yeah. That's a statement that means
Sure.
nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a place in this world.
Any other prompts for Hotline Scream next week?
Call in with a
Tell-
Werner Herzog impression, please.
Describe your latest kink in a Werner Herzog voice, please.
Yes,
Do
please
that.
do that. Exactly that.
Yeah. Talk about your butt stuff.
Begun
Like
to
Werner.
insert anal beads where they do not belong.
Yeah. That's what I
Wait,
want.
where did they not belong? Because they belong in the,
mouth.
anus. Okay.
The anal bead. Don't put your mouth beads in the anus. No.
Damn.
And
Need
vice
to call
versa.
now. What's that number so I can call now?
904-638-3231. Yeah. Just tell us.
How do your
Please.
anal beads taste? Let us know.
Do they make flavored anal beads? That seems unnecessary, but
They
I
all
want
taste
to
like
know.
latex.
It's real.
They,
It's
They
important
do,
that-
but
it's
they all taste like latex.
They all end up tasting pretty much the same. I can tell you that.
they end up tasting the same.
One way or another, you're getting the same flavor, baby.
Right.
Damn.
This is the true horror of the podcast right here. Yeah, that's all we got this week. Michael, thanks so much for sitting in with us, man. It's always a
Yeah.
pleasure having you on. One more time, why don't you remind everybody where they can find you and your podcast at?
Of course. Well, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You can find Horror Apocalypse podcast on Podbean, Google, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We do our live shows every Friday at 9:30. Hopefully this Friday I'll have my camera situation figured out. I just ordered a new cable, so maybe that'll fix it. And that's about it.
All right.
We,
we're going to be back.
I'm sorry. Did we shout out Thomas? This is Thomas's pick, right?
Yeah, I did at the top of the show. But
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
we can always
Just want to
mention
make
him
sure
again.
we did.
Yeah, this is our first Patreon pick of 2021. So thanks for signing up again, Thomas, and showing us some love over on Patreon, picking a movie for us to talk about.
And then showing
Um,
us some hate by picking this movie.
Yeah,
Not for Bob.
it's
that's true.
we have done worse. And maybe that's
We have
why I
definitely-
was
this-
so kind to this movie, is because dear God, we've done worse.
Either they've blown their load already, or this is just a nicer love tap than the other ones.
Yeah, but yeah, much love, Thomas. Thanks for all your support, man. We really do appreciate that. We're going to be getting to the rest of those Patreon picks here very soon. We might be doing another one next week. We're actually not totally sure. We got a couple things in the works, so we're not going to announce the movie next week just yet. We're going to figure that out, and then I'll post it on social media and stuff later this week and let you guys know what to watch to get ready for next episode. But until then, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at str8_chilling, on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email to our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you would like to join in on our daily Slack channel conversations, just hit us up on one of those social media outlets, and I'll send you a link to join in on the fun. That's all we got this week. Until next time, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.